One of the biggest things I ask by people is, can you mentor me? And it'll be as innocent as someone coming up to me after I've spoken at an event, have I got time? Could I take you for a cup of coffee? And the reality of my life is I can't do one-to-one mentoring with people like that. But it doesn't mean that you can't still use me as a business mentor, which is a big part of what this series is all about. So I want to talk now about mentoring. I always see that there are two types of mentor that you can have. There are those who know that they are mentoring you, and that those who have no idea that you even exist that mentor you. And if I take my own example, so I have been very lucky to have been mentored by a number of the different dragons over my lifetime as it was. And if I take just two examples of that, okay? So Uncle Tuka, as I always like to refer to him, has been a fantastic mentor to me over the time. And mentoring is really key because what happened was Tuka actually did my screen test. Very, very first time I met him, he did my screen test, which meant that that first really scary day in the den when I met the dragons for the first time, he was the one person I recognised. And I came up to him and I said, Tuka, I'm really nervous about the situation. This is all quite new for me. I wondered if you would mentor me through the process. Now, this happens a lot. People will ask about mentoring, but what's a little bit different is I showed him what that would look like. So what I said to him was, I want you to mentor me. So every time after we come out of the den, after we come out of a pitch and we go to the green room, if I stick the kettle on and make you a cup of tea, would you walk me through where you think I went really well in that pitch and where I could have done a little bit better? So I gave him permission to give me feedback, and critical feedback, which is really difficult to give people. And we did, true to his word, after the first few pitches, I would come in, stick the kettle on, and he would give me that honest, open and frank feedback. And that is what helped me really adapt and become better as a dragon. Now, when you're asking someone to mentor you, I think it's really important that you find somebody who has the time and the capacity. Tuka is a busy man. However, what I did was I fit into his life. So that time in between pitches would be when he wasn't doing anything anyway, just having a cup of tea, maybe he's checking his emails, speaking with his friends. So his friends being the other dragons, of course. So this way I was fitting into his life. I was making it easy for him. Secondly, it was all about creating that opportunity for him to be able to give me that feedback in a way that wasn't difficult. So for example, can you imagine when Stephen started in the den a few years later, he hadn't spoken to me and created this environment where I could give him feedback. And we came out after the first pitch and I said, hey mate, stick the kettle on, make us a cuppa. I'm going to tell you where I think you went wrong in that pitch. You just wouldn't dream of doing that. Yet that's exactly what Tuka was doing because I'd created the environment for him to do that. So that's about mentoring with people kind of one-to-one where they do have the time. And then the other type of mentoring is when people have no idea that they are even mentoring you. And I always joke about this and I say Duncan Bannatyne, who I'd never met, mentored me all the way through my 20s. And that's because I remember buying Duncan's book when Duncan was a big dragon, back when I was, first starting out in business. I read all of the dragons' autobiographies, but Duncan's in particular really resonated with me and really stuck with me. And I read that book and I imagined myself being on that journey with him. And I tried to channel my inner Duncan at times and think, if I was talking to Duncan about my business, what would he say here? Because I got to know him through that process of reading his book. And I really felt like he was a mentor to me. And I've used this concept of invisible mentoring right throughout my whole career. So, Duncan was a great business person that mentored me, as have many other business people who've never met me. And I did a lot of work on TV shopping when I was young and just starting out. So I used to watch the other shopping channels and I used to watch the people who were top of their game, the absolute creme de la creme of delivering TV shopping content. And I used to study what they did and really try and learn from them. And that in and of itself is a form of mentoring. For a lot of people, you might follow people on LinkedIn or on YouTube, and you might find the advice that they are giving you that you're adapting and interpreting in your own life. That is a form of mentoring. Just you watching these videos and learning from my advice is me mentoring you, but in a way that I'm able to do. I couldn't make the time to sit down with each and every one of you one-to-one and have a cup of coffee. But what I can do is do this and help you on that business journey. So I think those are the two types of mentoring. You can go and choose all of your invisible mentors right now. In terms of advice for finding a real life mentor, Try and find someone that you can approach who is at a place in their life that they can fit you into their life. You know, I found that with Tuka. My dad is a brilliant mentor for a couple of other business people. And my dad's in a place in his life, he's retired, he's got lots of time. People will come around to the house and, you know, just have a cup of coffee and sit and chat with him for a few hours. He's got the time to do that, and he's got the skills to still be able to mentor people in his career. You're going to be far more lucky and, you know, realistic getting time from my dad these days than you would be from asking me to mentor you one-to-one. So when you are choosing a mentor, pick someone who is really able to offer you that advice and mentoring and support, and take the time for you, and that'll make the difference. So off you go, get yourself loads of invisible mentors, find yourself a great mentor you can work with now, and best of luck as you embark on your mentoring journey.